every Yu-Gi-Oh! Ace card explained in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Oh boy, we are in my territory. As somebody that has gone through Yu-Gi-Oh! GX recently again, well, is still continuing to do so. I'm about the end of Season 3, about where Adrian gets the power of Exodia. And I have so many fond memories. I have so many cards and decks that I like using from GX as well. Alas, we are in my territory, and I'm very curious what TGS Anime is going to bring to the table. What we're going to designate as an ace card for individuals. What we're going to designate as the boss monster. And I'm very, very curious.
Ace cards are the cards that duelists carry with them throughout each of their decks, regardless of how much it changes over the course of the series.
Yeah.
In contrast, boss monsters are the ultimate power that their deck is able to get.
You know, there's a card there. I just don't know what it is. Like, it would be an Air Neos if that existed. I don't know. There's just a black screen here to me. If you understand the hilarity that has been the Air Neos quote unquote controversy, you're welcome. If not, don't worry about it. It's just Air Neos things, but Air Neos doesn't exist.
Get out. This can change over the course of the series if the characters are around a lot. Sometimes boss monsters and ace monsters are kind of the same thing, but as a generality, ace monster, blue eyes white dragon. Boss monster, blue eyes ultimate dragon.
Yeah.
You see, today I want to look at all of the ace monsters for the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX characters. We did it for the original series, we might as well carry on. So, let's start.
I do appreciate this. As someone who's a giant GX fan, a lot of people stop at Duel Monsters. I do appreciate this TGS Anime. Not that you'll see this, but thank you. I very much appreciate this, and I hope this is being providing enough commentary, and that it's being transformative enough, because your work is just excellent.
Start first with Jaden Yuki. Right out the gate.
Flame Wingman. Technically, he's had Flame Wingman since Season 1. Neos only came into the picture about Season 2, but would classify as the Ace Monster in the Dark Magician slot. Also, we can also, as with Yugi, how we kind of gave the Dark Magician Girl, and how we gave the Karibo example, technically, if you really wanted to boil it down to a 3, Elemental Hero Neos, Elemental Hero Flame Wingman, and Wing Karibo specifically.
We have one of the most complicated characters to pin down an ace monster for.
Yeah!
Why? Well, initially, Jaden's first ace in the anime started out as Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. This was a warrior fusion monster that had the ability that when it destroyed a monster by battle, you could inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster attack. Pretty cool card. Throughout the early parts of the series, this was his go-to fusion card. It would win him a lot of duels, and it always seemed to be the card he was most excited to get out onto the field.
It was such a good card.
Jaden himself even states that this card is his favorite card.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts because some of the fan theories that Neos was kind of mimicking Yubel to a degree because of the design, which this is just the design, right? This is just the Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster design, especially of the era of this kind of flavor, right? Oh, that hurts, though, from that thought experiment. That hurts!
My favorite card, Elemental Hero, Flame Wingman.
Even better, because the new Yubel support has a little arm dragon. Oh my god. I'm gonna need a minute, actually. I'm gonna need a minute on that one.
And they even made a card to reference Jaden saying this with the card Favorite Hero.
Yeah.
That's it, right? If your favorite card is most likely your ace card, the card you carry through all your decks, it would be Flame Wingman, right? Well, there's
Technically,
a problem.
but
Jaden's deck would go through some changes as he started incorporating Neospatians into it later in the series. As a result, we would see less of Flame Wingman and a whole lot more of Elemental Hero Neos.
yeah.
Neos is a 2500 attack point warrior monster with no effect. But what it does do is the ability to contact fuse with any other Neospatian monster in Jaden's deck to create any kind of fusion monster that the plot wants, basically.
Man, remember when Glad Beast was a thing back in the day, and that was like tier 1? I never played in that format competitively. But I remember people like, yeah, no, this is just Neospatians on like steroids. Like Gladiator Beast also used contact fusion, and they were nutty.
Now, Neos has a lot going for him in terms of ace monster appeal. He was designed by the main character. His attack points make him in line with the now established
He does have the 2500 2000 split
trend of main characters in Yu-Gi-Oh, they have to have a monster with 2,500 attack points as their ace, or just at least a monster in their deck have that kind of thing. And of course, the most damning evidence of all is that Jaden actually says this to Yugi in the final episode.
Yugi-san, あなたのデッキの象徴がブラックマジシャンなら、俺のデッキの象徴、それがエレメンタルヒーロー、ネオス。
So, this confirms it, right? Well, there's a twist to this. During Jaden's second duel with Crowler, just a few episodes before the final one, he says that his elemental heroes are still his favorite, despite how much his deck has changed.
現れろ、フレームウィングマン。
So these have to be in Japanese because we never got a dub of season 4, despite how much happens in season 4. Like, there's a lot that happens. A lot of characters grow up in season 4. It's actually a really good watch, and for some people, a really emotional watch.
永遠のマイフェイバリットヒーローさ。いけ、フレームウィングマン。
So what makes something an ace? Is it their favorite card, or the card that is a symbol of the deck? Neos was in more duels, but I mean, if it's your favorite card, it's your favorite card. And I wish we could end things there, but we're not done.
Wing
As a
Karibo.
child, Jaden's ace
Ah, Yubel. Yubel, my beloved.
was actually Yubel, a former human transformed into a duel monster that watches over the Supreme King, whom Jaden is now a reincarnation of. In my opinion,
There was also an English dub controversy over an alleged word that was said while airing, which has been endless entertainment for me.
and Yubel leans more in the spirit partner kind of thing, like Yami Yugi. It eventually becomes his partner after he uses with it. However, the fact that she's also a card is hard to say. And if it was his ace as a kid, but side note, by the way, Yubel, her ace monster is
Yubel!
Now that
Got him.
might seem a little bit egotistical, and it actually is, because there's another dual monster spirit that is a physical manifestation of a card, and that is Kyberman. His ace monster
Cyberman, he exists. He also just plays 3 blue eyes.
is not Kyberman. It's Blue Eyes White Dragons.
Yep.
So this proves you can have a card of yourself in your deck, and it doesn't have to be your ace card. I'm sorry, I lost track a little bit there. We're talking about Jaden's ace cards. We're just a new bell. Keep him.
Jaden goes through there's a reason I say Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is just trauma the anime. Jaden goes through a lot. Everyone ends up relying on Jaden for everything. Jaden is pushed to the limit. Jaden sees, especially in season 3, right? Where, and this is after the Light of Destruction, seeing Aster get bodied by Light of Destruction possessed Sartorius, right? Having to either throw the satellite keys to Sartorius or watch Aster Phoenix get dunked into lava, right? And, that's this very stressful dual fate of the world once again. He is the only duelist that stood up to the Sacred Beast. Yes, having to use Sabadio the Philosopher's Stone, right? But provided to him by Banner. But, Jaden throughout the series, and it becomes so evident that the crew almost seems inept in some capacities because they leave Sir Freed's protection, right, in season 3. And Jaden, dual Scar himself, Scout of Dark World, right? And he's like, guys, I can't let you duel, and doesn't actually explain that, yeah, you kind of just die in this world. You are quote unquote sent to the stars. And then so he's going around dueling all of these fiends, right? He gets to the prison, and then, yeah, Jaden, sorry, we tried to come after you, but they got us, right? Alexis, Chaz, Hasselberry, Attakus, right? Cyrus, they all get captured trying to go after Jaden, despite Jaden, pretty much, he would have probably lost to Gitzinser if it wasn't for Freed coming after him, actually, now that I think about it. But, man, that whole season 3 is just... And he recovers from PTSD as well. They're in a duel versus Zane before he's trying to go through one of the doors in the desert to get to where Yubel Jesse is, right? He's dueling against Zane. And he draws polymerization as flashbacks to Evil Hero, Inferno Wing, and all the people he's hurt. Just there's so much character growth in Jaden as a character. And so, yeah, there's a reason that there's going to be so many monsters and so many things. Some people in chat are arguing polymerization, right? That could be considered their ace, could be considered a boss monster. It's such an in-depth series.
Jaden ran into Yugi in the first episode, and Yugi gave him his Winged Karibo. Winged Karibo had probably the greatest spiritual connection to Jaden out of all of his cards. This was the card that like would always manifest itself and help him in dire situations, and it was always the card he seemed to turn to the most. Be like, what should I do, Karibo? Is that his ace monster as well? But I mean, like, it didn't win him that many duels, apart from when he upgraded it into Winged Karibo level 10, but I don't know.
I mean, if we're gonna like, because Jaden is main pro tag, right? Main pro tag. If we're gonna give it the treatment of Yugi, right? I mean, I think it'd be fair to split it, right? Where we have Neos, which is kind of that main character stat line, which Jaden did design himself. It is the icon of his deck, but his favorite is Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. But you also have Karibo, which is kind of his spirit mascot, so to speak.
No, and we're still not done because Jaden went through a bit of an evil spell where he became the Supreme King. And the Supreme King's ace card was Super Polymerization.
It's
a card that let you fuse on both sides of the fields.
Super Polymerization is a card I read back when I was in high school in like 2009, and I read this, and this card was not used in 2009, like at all, right? And I read this, and I'm like, this is dumb. Like, this is actually stupid good.
And it couldn't be responded to. So that's pretty cool. And Jaden did inherit this afterwards. I don't know if that's really his ace card either. But then that brings up the point. Wait a minute. Maybe Jaden's ace card was right in front of us this entire time. Hidden in plain sight. What card has been mashing all of these monsters together to make his iconic fusion monsters? Polymerization.
It is the playmaker.
Maybe polymerization is Jaden's ace card. The point I'm trying to make.
But Neospatians use contact fusion, so technically it is correct, but could also be discounted on certain grounds. Let me know in the comments section what your votes for.
It's really hard to pin down Jaden's ace. Obviously, Neos and Flame Wingman are the main two, but there's a case to be made for a lot of other cards. So, since I can't decide, I'm going to leave this one to all of you. I've put a poll on my community section right now where you can vote on either Neos, Flame Wingman, Polymerization, Winged Karibo, or Yubel. I'll leave a link in the comments for you to find it as well, but I'm excited to see what you think is Jaden's ace monster.
Well, if we're using monster, I would say Flame Wingman. However, if we're using card, oh God, I mean, I guess I would have to say, because it's got to be the thing that fires off all of his other plays. I almost want to say Neos. I was like thinking Poly, but I think Neos is the answer here. Alexis
Rhodes. Her race monster is Etwell Cyber, a level 4 Earth warrior monster with the effect that if it attacks directly, it boosts its own attack. I mean, Cyberblader was a contender for Ace. However, I think Cyberblader is more in the boss monster category. Along with her like ritual cards that she played, they're all like boss monster kind of things. The reason I think Etwell Cyber is her ace card is she uses this monster throughout the entire series. We see it in her final duels.
I don't know. Cyber Tutu feels like it has more usage. I'd have to check the duel stats, but I feel like Cyber Tutu might have more usage.
And her alternate universe counterpart, Alexis from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, used this card as well. So I mean,
yeah, I need to watch the Arc 5 bits with GX. I feel like that'd be very interesting. I haven't watched Arc 5.
I mean, like, if your monster crosses dimensions where your characters tend to play different things, then that's a pretty good reason for it to be your ace. And not only that, the time that she got kidnapped by Panic, she dropped one of her cards, and this was the card that Jaden found, and he knew straight away that it was Alexis Rhodes.
Yeah, I could see that.
You can think about that for a minute if you want. If you got kidnapped and a card were to fall out of your deck, how would your friends know it was you that's been...
Because it'd be either something like really stupid, like ultra polymerization, like something super janky, or a B-Bell, let's be real.
What would the card be on the flip? Like, I know who that is. That's James. That's James's card right there. Anyway, Alexis has a brother, Attakus Rhodes, and his ace monster is
Red
Eyes Black Dragon, a level 7 dark dragon-type monster with no effects. Attakus actually plays a Red Eyes deck to support his Red Eyes monster. He has all of the like support cards, spells and traps that do things with the Red Eyes Black Dragon, and he has an upgraded form of it and an upgraded form of that. It's really awesome. However, a case could be made for a spell card in this deck. Swing of Memories. You see,
Yeah, that it could be. Because that was this was brought up in regards to when Alexis was possessed by the Light of Destruction, and she was part of Sartorius's zombie horde, and Swing of Memories was one of those things that Attakus said she and him had a special connection with that card as kids, so that would help her potentially break out of Sartorius's grip.
see, this card represents his family to him.
It's called Swing of Memories, sort of a family heirloom.
So, I mean, that card has a lot of sentimental value to him, so it could be a case that this was his ace card as well. And the fact that it can summon Red Eyes Black Dragon from the graveyard, since its effect is you can special summon a normal monster from the graveyard, but it's destroyed during the end phase, it works. Now, Cyrus Truesdale, I think, is a hard one because he never really put any emphasis on any of these like main deck monsters. I'm just gonna have to give it to the de facto boss monster of his deck for a while. It was his.
God, what would his be? I almost want to say Submarine Roid because of how much work it put in. But I guess if we're going spells, what is it? Vehicroid Connect. Jumbo Vehicroid Connection Unit or something like that, like the spell card. I don't know. It's super hard to pin this one down, actually, because his deck changed so much between seasons 1 and 3.
The ace and his boss, and then he got upgraded later on into a different monster. It's the level 8 machine monster.
Yeah.
It requires 3 monsters to be summoned. It's Super Vehicle Roid Jumbo Drill. Keep in mind,
maybe Drillroid then, actually.
This monster's ability was to inflict piercing battle damage. And if that sounds familiar, it's basically Cyber End Dragon. It's just, nowhere near as good. Later down the line,
it's just Mom, can we have Cyber Dragon? Can I have Cyber End Dragon? No, sweetie, we have Cyber End Dragon at home. It's Super Druid. Oh, Cyrus, I'm sorry.
I would actually say that once Cyrus became comfortable with using the Power Bond, because old days, he played Power Bond as a kid, messed up uber bad. His brother scolded him and says you're just absolute trash for playing this card then, and I think he paid off the other guy to like, just don't tell anyone you saw my brother use Power Bond like this. And it's kind of the iconic card between Zane and Cyrus. So I think Power Bond would be classed as his ace monster throughout the rest of the series. I mean, like at the end of the series as well, he absorbs Zane's Cyber Dragon deck and Cyber Dark deck, which I'm still salty about. Why would you combine Cyber Dragons, Cyber Dark Dragons, and the Roid deck all together? I know it works.
You're just going for just like, you have scrap pile the deck at that point. It's notoriously hard even in the TCG, right? Because the Cyber Dark Structure deck came. I bought like 6 of those because God, Infinite Impermanence is hot. One of my favorite cards of all time. But like, you can't. Cyber Dragons kind of do their own thing. Cyber Darks kind of do their own thing. Meshing them together isn't the best logistical decision.
In the context of the anime, and I know Zane said you've surpassed me now with this, so sure, whatever.
Just go for it.
Basically, Power Bond was his ace card. And if we're doing Zane Truesdale as well, Zane Truesdale's ace card is also Power Bond. If you don't know, Power Bond is a fusion card exclusive.
I would say his ace card is actually Cyber Dragon. Because that is his plays. A level 5 that you can either just hard tribute summon, kind of like Gamma Seal in worst case scenario, you can just hard tribute summon it to your side of the field. Like, he can just either tribute it, or if he has no monsters on his side of the field, but your opponent has at least one monster, right? So your opponent has board presence, you can just slap down special summon a Cyber Dragon. It's also not once per turn. So if for some reason they keep compulsing your Cyber Dragon in your hand, you could theoretically just keep summoning it, to my understanding. It's not a hard once per turn as far as I'm aware. Like, Cyber Dragon is really the card that kind of makes his deck go ham, but I could see the argument for Power Bond.
Exclusive to machine monsters, and the monster it's summoned gets double attack, but you take damage equal to its original attack at the end of the turn. So it's a risk-reward kind of thing, but the reward is definitely worth the risk.
Yeah,
and
piercing
you might
8k.
Be thinking, why isn't Cyber Dragon Zane's ace? Well, I mean, it probably is. As iconic as Cyber Dragon is to Zane, I think Power Bond is equally so. And I feel like there's a lot more emphasis on the Power Bond card. I mean, Cyber Dragon is great, don't get me wrong, it's my favorite monster. And the fact that Cyber Dragon fuses with like every single
your favorite monster, a good choice. Absolute legend.
One of Zane's monsters, it's literally the core of his deck. Cyber Dragon is just great. It's a level 5 machine monster that if you have no monsters and your opponent controls one, you can special summon it. Also, while we're in this category. Zane used a cyber deck. Another character that used a cyber deck was Chancellor Shepard.
Yeah.
His ace monster was Cyber Ogre.
Yeah, it was.
Chaz Princeton, I would have thought would have been hard to pin down with how much his decks change over the course of the series. Like, he plays a lot of different stuff. What he has is a lot of different boss monsters. VWXYZ, Dragon Cannon, Arm Dragon level 10. He plays like...
I would say Arm Dragon. That one's a little harder. Like, it's Arm Dragon level 5, probably level 5 or 7.
Phonian cards. I think he had Infernal Incinerator as
Yeah,
a
he
boss
did.
monster for a while. But
Yeah,
they're
he
boss
did.
monsters. We don't care about them for this video. His ace monster was the Ojama Trio. Specifically, Ojama Yellow. a
Yeah,
level
I can't contest this one. Ojama Yellow is my next choice. Yeah, I can't contest this.
2 beast monster with 0 attack and 1,000 defense. How do
Big
I know
fat
Ojama
zero.
Yellow is his ace? Well, a majority of the cards in his deck revolve around the Ojama cards. It is his spirit partner as well. It's always talking to him as much as it annoys.
And then you have, like, what was it? Season 2? Chaz also had, like, Beetle Top deck. And there was they made the meme about, and I fused my... in Chaz's voice, right? And I fused my 2 Beetle Top cards to make Beetle Top 2 Electric Boogaloo or something like that. Oh my god. GX is just rife with memes.
Him. And of course, in Chaz's big duel in the final season, he plays against
Yeah, it was Beetle Top 2 Beetle Turbo and not Beetle Top 2 Electric Boogaloo. That was the meme. Oh my god.
Asta Phoenix, dressed as Ojama Yellow for the majority of this as well. And he
Perfect.
manages to beat Asta with Ojama Yellow. And when he does this, he even states that monster is his ace in that moment.
Yeah.
Done and dusted.
俺を信じろ。お前は俺のデッキのエースだ。
Chumley Huffington, he played like
That's
an Australian
Koala?
theme deck, and his ace monster, he looks like a koala. That's the whole thing. He's meant to look like a koala. So
Yeah.
his ace monster is
Also hot sauce. His dad owns a hot sauce quote unquote company, which makes people tipsy quote unquote on quote unquote hot sauce. God, y'all ever just drink so much hot sauce you just get drunk? No, that's not how that works. Man, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX censorship is amazing.
Des Koala, a level 3 dark beast type monster that when it's flipped up, it inflicts 400 damage to the opponent for every card in their hand. The only wrench with Des Koala would be the fact that he designed a card called
Ayers Rock Sunrise.
Rock's Sunrise, and it's quite a sentimental card to him. Chumley has a dad, Mr. Huffington. I don't think he has a first name. Mr.
Yeah.
Huffington owns a sake company, so of course you would play a sake-based deck, and you would play 1 bottle of sake as your ace card. Of course, in the dub, those
Yep.
aren't his ace cards. They swapped the sake and the sake company with hot sauce.
Hot sauce.
It's, 1 bottle of hot sauce.
Just a little bit more hot sauce. You can handle it.
You are so very generous.
My pleasure. And your cat's from the look of it.
It's actually that's not a meme. That's not a meme dub. That is actually the dub. And it's perfect. It's perfect in every way.
It doesn't make any sense. Who would drink hot sauce like this?
Don't worry about it.
Bastion Masawa. Now, he is someone I almost want to say doesn't have an ace monster because he plays so many different decks throughout the series, and like his whole thing with Bastion is he's got a million different decks. He always builds a new deck to
I mean, what was it? Magnet Warrior, Sigma Minus, and Omega Plus. He kind of played those a little bit with plus minus counters, right? He kind of played that for a little bit. He also played Oxygeddon, Hydrogeddon, Bonding H2O, Water Dragon. Like Water Dragon's more like boss monster territory. I'm gonna say the Magnet Warriors.
counter whatever people play. But if I had to associate him with a card, I'm just going to say it's Water Dragon. I mean, it's a cool card. It makes all fire and pyro monsters on the field go down to 0. In the opening cutscene of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, we also see a
It's him,
Fire
yeah.
Dragon, and he never plays this card throughout the rest of the series. So I'd love
You know, you're actually right on that one. I feel like I was able to logisticize that, but no, you're 100% right. There's no Fire Dragon here.
to know if this card, what effect would it have had? Would he have been able to use Water Dragon and Fire Dragon on the same field? I just wonder. I wonder what he could have done with that. Tyranno Hasselbury, his ace
Yeah.
card was, of course,
Tyranno Hasselbury, literally just like the most military duelist ever. Like, it's not even a joke. The dude just calls everybody Sarge. Just- this man is like a meme drill instructor, and I love him. He's got that dino DNA.
Of course, the level 8 dinosaur type monster, Super Conductor Tyranno. Its effect wasn't great. You could tribute a monster, deal 1,000 damage, and you couldn't attack with that monster. Not great. It's upgraded form in the real world, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno.
Yeah, it's a monster.
Quite devastating.
Spicy.
But why is it his ace? Well, he loves dinosaurs. He broke his leg or his arm or whatever when he was a kid, and he had a dinosaur bone put in to replace it as well. So now he has dino DNA.
So they used the dinosaur bone I found to save my leg. Ever since, I've had what they call dino DNA.
So it's just as meme. If you've never seen Hasselberry, do yourself a favor and go watch GX. Even if you just watch the clips, I'd recommend watching the whole thing, but the clips alone are beautiful.
Just makes sense he would have a dinosaur monster as his ace monster. And the same thing can be said for Jim Crocodile Cook. Similar case, he is half geologist, half duelist. He loves fossils, loves them. So what would you play?
He's it's gonna be Fossil Fusion or Fossil Dynapachycephalo.
Fossil deck. What would your ace card be? Fossil Fusion, a card that lets you use both graveyards to fuse.
Actually, I don't think I've read what Fossil Fusion does IRL. I don't even think I own a copy. Fusion summon one Fossil Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion material monsters mentioned in it from any graveyards except for materials with specific grade mark requirements listed. Okay, so if the fusion monster says from your graveyard, I guess, right? You banish a monster from both graveyards, neither player can target that special summon monster with monster effects. So it's kind of like a dark fusion, kind of souped up dark fusion. Interesting. But it's neither player can. If a false fusion monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card's in your graveyard, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. Use effect false fusion. I might actually pick up copies of this because I'm a huge fusion fan.
You can use the bones of your opponents and your monsters to merge them together and make something cool. I think that's really awesome. I like that. Aster Phoenix is an interesting.
He's probably going to be Diamond Dude if I had to guess, honestly. Like, his boss is Plasma, one of my favorite cards. And as mentioned in the Duel Monsters video, I went to locals during about Bujin format. I brought like this like weird Grinder Golem, because Grinder Golem was still legal. Grinder Golem, Lava Golem token deck to locals just to dunk out Destiny Hero Plasma. And it didn't go awful. So I might have to toy with Plasma again at some point, even if it's like a super rogue niche list. God. Plasma is like one of my favorite monsters because it can actually like suck up a monster like Relinquish.
In case, because he doesn't really put that much emphasis on any of his main deck monsters. He has a lot of boss monsters.
Yeah.
Several of them.
Yeah.
But I think his ace monster is, of course, Destiny Hero Plasma. This card is the last card his murdered father made, and I think that makes it de facto his ace card. And with
it's also very representative of Aster Phoenix. So while it is boss monster territory, it would satisfy the ace monster criteria, and is probably one of my absolute like top 5 monsters in this entire game.
The ability to just yoink an opponent's monster and add half of its attack onto its own. It's a good card as well. It's definitely worth keeping on the field, and the fact that it just like nullifies all of a card effects on the field. That's just...
I want a retrain of this, actually. I would love a power crept retrain of this, where it had, like, in the anime, right? Because it had, like, I think spell and trap effects. It had, like, effect protection. Even if it's just from, like, spell and trap cards, right? I would absolutely love to have a retrain of Destiny Hero Plasma. Or even if it's just, I mean, I would hope it would be more than, like, giving it, you know, just half, right? Giving it like all of its attack, right? So if you suck up a Blue Eyes, right, you're sucking up all 3,000 out of 1,500. Valerian Revelin, thank you for the raid. How's it going? Watching some Yu-Gi-Oh! TGS Anime.
This card was a shared ace monster. The other character to have Destiny Hero Plasma as an ace monster was the D. The guy that killed Aster Phoenix's dad. Just took
which brings about the meme from GX. Hasselberry just screams, "I've always wanted to see the D." Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is quite the time.
God, so there you go. And while we're on Aster as well, we also have Sartorius. Sartorius's ace monster is a tough
it's going pretty well. Hope you had a good stream.
There's quite a few Arcana Force monsters that could compete for position. I mean, a lot of them kind of fall into boss monster category.
I mean, like, I guess I would say like the Chariot, maybe. Arcana Force 7, the Chariot, but we also have, what is it, Arcana Force 21, the World, I think it is. I think it's 21.
But I'm just going to give it to Arcana Force XXI.
There we go.
Zawaldo, the world, basically.
It's
I know
good.
this isn't an in-law reason. The voice actor for Sartorius in the Japanese is the same voice actor that plays Dio.
No way. No way. So we can actually make Zowardo. Oh my god. Please. This goes so hard. If you've never seen GX, please do yourself a favor. Like, absolutely do yourself a favor. I've actually never seen the dub. Sub. I've seen the dub multiple times. And I watched season 4 sub, obviously. Oh my god, this is perfect.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Dio has an ability, a stand in the show called The World. So I just think that's kind of fitting. So why would you not have this as the Ace monster?
Arcana Force 21, the world. Oh god. Yeah.
Sartorius' sister played a
It's what is it, the Dark Creator or something like that?
mirror deck. I don't really know what her ace was. I'd have to go back and watch the episode. I know she had a monster called Dark Creator.
That one.
Probably a boss monster. So I'll
Dark Creator doesn't even that there's a different Dark Creator actually in print. It's not that
let
one.
you guys tell me what was her ace. She had some mirror cards. Were any of those that seemed special, or like she kept throughout the?
I actually just went through this recently. No, so her two aces, so the two cards that she really used was like Sakyo and something else. They were like these two bandaged ninja dudes. And that was kind of her like first kind of test, so to speak. And then after that, it went into the Dark Creator mirror kind of plan kind of thing. And that's when Jaden and Aster kind of kicked into overdrive, and Jaden ended up revealing Dark Panther and being able to take the effect of the Dark Creator to make his own Dark Creator army, and then summon Neos, and then go ham from there. So no, it was Sakyo and Ukyo were the only real other two that I could say, but it was kind of like, I don't know, kind of like using two pendulum cards, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to use, Perform Pal X and Perform Pal Y, but you use them every single game kind of thing, right? So I don't think it was Sakyo or Ukyo. I think it was Dark Creator would be the one.
Being titled, let me know. Now, Jesse Anderson, obviously, his most iconic card is Rainbow Dragon, but I'm...
Yes and no, that would be Ruby Carbuncle. That man is... Oh my god, I love Jesse so much.
That's not his ace monster. That's just like his super uber boss monster,
Yeah.
one of a kind card. I want to say his ace is Sapphire Pegasus. You don't realize how much work this card does. It's such a good card.
Oh, it
And
puts in so
Crystal
much
Beast
work.
It's literally the core of the deck. It does so much. It's just
Yeah.
strong. It's not his ace. It's probably Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle, which
Yeah.
is also his spirit partner. And it has the ability that when it's special summoned from the Crystal Beast zone, I'm pretty sure that was...
So the play is you bring out, is Ruby is in your spell and trap card zone. I almost literally said it as Jesse. I'm like starting to get his southern drawl on. Like you drop the Sapphire Pegasus, get the Ruby out of spell and trap card zone, Ruby procs, and then you bring two from the Crystal Beast from the spell and trap cards out.
Effect. It special summons all the Crystal Beasts to the field. So, I feel more Sapphire Pegasus, but I'm probably Ruby.
Both are
Yubel
good.
Possessed. Jesse, probably Advanced Dark.
Yeah.
This is ace card. And obviously the
It would be Advanced Dark as the playmaker here. Rainbow Dragon would be the boss.
boss monster is Rainbow Dark Dragon. Now, Axel Brody's ace is probably going to be Volcanic Doomfire. It's
That's his boss. I mean, honestly, it's weird because he has like Volcanic Shell and Volcanic Scatter Shot that he'll throw into Blaze Accelerator or try Blaze Accelerator, and then he'll just fire that. He's also another military duelist. His duel deck is literally just a gun for cards. It's so good. But like, no, so he has that. I mean, he has Volcanic Slicer, Volcanic Hammerer, one of the other volcanic cards. Can't remember what it is. It's the little green four-legged table-looking thing. But I think this is one of those that this would be his ace and his boss when they're trying to summon their cards to power up the portal leading to the Dark World. He uses Doomfire, and that's actually the first we see of Doomfire.
It's a cool card. That's like an ace boss monster. He keeps it
Yeah.
from the start all the way to the end. I would like to make a case for Blaze Accelerator if you didn't
Yeah.
want that as an ace card. This just works.
You ever want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know. You want to play Yu-Gi-Oh where you just play with a gun? Sign me up, partner.
works so well with the deck. It's just like a core part of it, and obviously it upgrades into its boss card form. Tri-Blaze Accelerator.
Yeah.
Axel's dad, who makes a very slight appearance in the final season, which isn't really his dad. It's like a possession from the...
He actually makes... He makes like flashback appearances as early as season 3, but he does have a Mr. T kind of weird moment where Mr. T is using his dad and he refers to Axel as my son. And it's a very, very good arc.
The darkness and stuff, but it's Volcanic Queen.
Yeah.
Adrian Gecko. At first, Adrian plays Cloudians, and I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
his boss on Ace card was the Cloudian Eye of the...
Yeah, Eye of the Typhoon, which looks completely different than it does here in the actual anime. He does get Exodia later on. Instead of Exodia, so there's 2 he can use later on. It's Cloudian Fog King, or it's going to be Exodios, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord, which was the one where... You'll have to say it. I can't remember the exact text on it.
Typhoon card, but
It's
then
a really good
he
card, though. I
sacks
want to
off
get
that
copies of it
deck to
again.
play an Exodia deck. I think his new Ace card, and that becomes Exodius, the
That one.
Ultimate Forbidden Lord.
Yeah, I actually used to run him in an Evil Swarm deck. Like, it was a really stupid niche tech. But, I mean, he's super cool, actually. So, can it be normal summoner set? Right, standard condition. Must be special summoned from your hand by shuffling all monsters in your graveyard into the deck, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This is to prevent his ladder effect from just winning outright, right? When this card declares an attack, send 1 monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. This card gains 1,000 attack for each normal monster in your graveyard. If this face-up card would leave the field, banish it instead. If there are 5 different Forbidden 1 cards in your graveyard that were sent there by this card's effect, you win the duel. So, effectively, what this effect boils down into is you have to summon it. You have to special summon it from your hand by taking all monster cards in your discard and shuffling them into your deck. You don't even care at that point, in my opinion. You don't even care. You have just just thrown everything back in your deck, depending on what you're trying to do, right? Absolutely. If you need a deck full of monsters that you just need to reset up, cool. He might be a tech you want to look into. I don't know if there's an actual relevant meta use case for him, but he's one of those cards that I look at and I'm just like, you could be useful. Kind of like Snake Rain, right? You could be useful. There's not really a use case for you, at least yet. But you could be useful, is how I look at him. And obviously, if you have Exodia in the discard, yeah, you just win.
And that has to be his Ace card. Do you know why? Because he basically kills his girlfriend to
Yeah,
get
he
his
does.
deck.
Yeah, he
So, I mean, you
does.
can't get a deck and be like, oh, I don't know if I like this deck that much. You've come too far at that point. You're like, yes, this
But
is
then
my
against
Ace.
Yubel, he
I'm
uses Fog
wholeheartedly
King.
invested in this deck now. So, yeah, Exodius. Felonious Viper. This is a snake duelist who's kind of evil. I'm going to say his Ace was evil.
Thelonious Viper, I need to, if you've never watched Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, so this man is Thelonious Viper. He is one of the antagonists for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 3. He's also like military Black Ops Spec Ops. This show is so campy, it's actually painful, and I love every second of it.
This is a snake duelist who's kind of evil. I'm going to say
It's
his
gonna be
Ace
Phenomenaga.
was either Venom Swamp or Phenomenon, the king of poisonous snakes.
I guess it's Phenomenon,
Obviously,
yeah.
that's got an upgraded form, but I think Phenomenon, Ace Monster.
I would say Phenomenon would be
Prowler's
good.
Ace, easy and simple.
Ancient Gear Golem.
Jean-Louis Bonaparte's Ace.
Is this Toy
Toy
Napoleon?
Emperor.
Yeah.
You remember the Shadow Riders? Well, quick round here. Titan's Ace was Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Camilla's Ace, Illusion Gate.
That was BS. That was one of those like Deus Ex Machina like plot point cards. It's because it was like, how do I activate this over-the-top OP card? I sacrifice some random person's soul. Okay, because that's a fair in-game cost.
Tanya's Ace, Amazonas Arena.
Yeah.
Abydos the Third's Spirit of the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Don Zalug.
Oh my god. The Christopher Walken character. Don Zalug.
All of the Dark Scorpions.
Yeah.
Amniel, Helios the Magistus. I want to say Sabtiel the Philosopher's Stone as well.
I think Sabatiel wouldn't quite fit. Yeah, I think Trace Magistus is probably the proper call there. I wanted to argue Helios, the Primordial Sun. Duos Magistus, isn't it? It's prop trio. Makes sense.
Well, but Helios. And how can we forget the leader, Kagamaru? He's Ace. all 3 of the sacred beasts.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Now, for the final season, 2 of the characters, we have Yuki Fujiwara. His ace
wasn't it one of the clear monsters? It wasn't Clear Vice Dragon, right?
was probably going to be Honest. He's
Yeah,
got his
I can see
Clear World
Honest.
and his Clear Vice Dragon and all that. They're like boss monsters.
Yeah, Honest was, especially when Fujiwara actually is freed from dark influence. Honest is, yeah. Like, Dark Fujiwara is definitely like Clear Vice Dragon, even though it's boss monster territory. There's also some, like, I think there's like Clear Golem and stuff, but Clear Vice Dragon fits. And Honest is probably the proper fit.
I do like Clear World a lot. I'd love for them to make Clear support. I talk about this
Please.
all the time. I think his
Please make Clear support. Thank you. You are the only other person I've heard talk about how you want Clear support. I had like Yu-Gi-Oh! 2004 on the DS, right? World Championship 2004. Loved playing Clear Vice Dragon, but it just was awful. Thank you. I would love Clear support. That'd be so cool.
ace monster was obviously Honest. It's the card that he had to seal away when he became evil. Honest is a really good card, by the way. It's a level 4 light fairy monster that when your light monster...
Honest is just better Bujingi Crane for generic light support is how I can describe it. But then people are going to just be like, Kip, Bujingi Crane came out after Honest. Yeah. No, you're right. You can also just say Bujingi Crane is just worse Honest just for Bujins.
is attacked, you can discard it to boost your monster's attack by the attack of the opponent's monster.
I have
Really good
lost to
quick effect.
Honest. It's
Like
wild.
early hand trap monster as well. It's very
Yeah.
strong. Finally, we have the big bad final villain of the entire series, the Darkness.
Yeah. Yukio gets real wild in that and in the final episodes.
Night Shroud. I'd say his ace cards was Zero and Infinity.
Yeah, Zero
Did
to
they ever make these
Infinity.
in real life? I'm actually
As far as I'm aware, they did not. However, there was apparently, I believe it was an event at Worlds. It was a side event where you had like some like Yu-Gi-Oh! Villain duels, I think they were, and there was a Darkness one where it was like Zero and Infinity, but it was kind of like this weird gimmick event setup kind of thing where you went for the experience of fighting this crafted deck. No, as far as I'm aware, there was never actually a Zero to Infinity printed. As far as I'm aware, at the very least.
not too sure. They like shuffle around and then however many cards are in between them, that's
Yeah.
how they got their effects. And he did have a boss monster, but that's
Dark
for a different
Neosphere.
video. And I think with
Really?
that, that's everyone done. If there's
Really?
any cards I didn't mention today, I'm saving them for the boss monster video.
I guess
Don't
that's fair,
worry.
yeah.
However, if you think I genuinely did miss an ace monster or I got some of them wrong, let me know in the comment section below. Other than that, watch the Duel Monsters version of this video right here and have a good day. Bye everyone. Catch you
No,
later.
I think he hit everything as best as he could. Especially with as much character growth as a lot, and sometimes how much the decks change around. Like, for instance, in Season 2, Zane completely changed his deck. He got the Underworld deck. He got Cyber Dark Dragon. So, I mean, there's room to argue that for a little bit, you know, Cyber Darks were kind of his thing. But, I mean, that was kind of a temporary thing. And, I mean, he hit all the main characters, right? I mean... like what we've talked about, like Marcel, like he hit everyone he needed to, and he hit it very squarely on the head. It's okay. As soon as we get into 5Ds, I'm out of my territory again. So just I'll take talking about GX where I can. TGS Anime, this was an amazing video. I filled 42 minutes from this. Definitely an amazing video. If you haven't watched the original, or you want to watch the original uncut and just full, or if you just want to follow someone cool, definitely go follow TGS Anime. Definitely go over, check his work out. He does a lot of great work, a lot of great Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. And, you know, clearly we had a lot of fun here. A lot of people in chat engaging, a lot of people in chat, you know, reminiscing. And that's kind of why I'm here. But go check him out. What are your thoughts? Do you think all the Ace monsters made sense? Do you think some of the Ace monsters didn't make sense? What would your GX era Ace monster be? What would your boss monster be? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you are interested in this kind of format, you know, I'm not sure when this is going to come out. If you would be interested in GX or Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, definitely let me know. I'm trying to gauge interest in that. Alas, that is all for me, and I will see you all in the next one.